Well, hello, everybody. What do you know? I lost track of where things were. I didn't even do my 1 minute intro video, which I was supposed to do because I was so busy commenting with you about how much I was having fun and today's a cool day. Can you guys hear me okay? Anyone? Let me know. I just want to make sure that everything is working from this end before I go into saying anything else. So, what do we got going on? We got folks in the comments. I'm getting new comments. That's a good thing. You can hear me. All right. So here we go. I'm just going to talk a little bit about Thanksgiving for a second, and then I want to hear from all of you. Probably going to do about 30 to 40 minutes today, and then we're going to get to our Thanksgivings, what that means. For me, it may be a little bit too much tequila. For you, maybe a little too much stuffing. Who knows? But here's what Thanksgiving means to me. It's actually pretty important. It's funny. I think about it. When I was in graduate school, the first ever column I wrote, first time I ever wrote a column that was published that I could sit there and see my name in print was on Thanksgiving, giving thanks for a variety of things. And as you can imagine, knowing me, half those things were jokes. Some of them were serious, mixed in with jokes, but it was, everything I was feeling at that moment. And if I told you how long ago that was, I'd start crying about my age, so I won't. There are three things that I see right now that are incredibly important about Thanksgiving. One, obviously, friends and family. And no, not all of our friends and family will have that crazy drunk uncle who'll be screaming MAGA nuttiness and want to put people in lion cages and deport them and maybe throw them into the ocean and whatever. Ignore that person. Go and actually try to get along with everybody there. And maybe for one day, don't make it even about politics. Stand up for your values. Stand up for what you believe. But maybe don't pick fights with people. It's not worth it today or tomorrow. Go enjoy yourself. And try to enjoy your family. And again, if there's some ugliness there for some people, avoid them or tell them to buzz off and use other language if you'd like. But I think you try to keep it a positive, enjoyable day. We all can use a break right now. And maybe even a long weekend would be a good thing. We get back to getting in the fight. Second thing I'm going to thank you for, and I have to look down at my computer when I do this, is this community. Because you guys have been fantastic. And you're even here today, and you could be anywhere, doing anything, drinking said tequila. But you're here and talking to each other, and you're here for me. And I never knew how much I would enjoy doing this. I've done so much TV, so much radio, so many things where it was a one-way system, right? I looked at a camera like this and spoke to it. Nobody could say anything back to me, which on occasion is probably a good thing because I've been told lots of things, but most of them I find funny, so it's all good. But seriously, I mean, to be able to interact with a great community like this, we may be in some difficult times, but it brings people together, and I think that's important. And the third thing I'd say is history. Why is history important? Because we learn from history. What history tells us is there's no fate yet written about where we're headed. There are people and others who have been in this kind of a situation with somebody who we all rightly believe to be an aspiring tyrant, and Donald Trump, who his own chief of staff, who's a general, said was an aspiring tyrant, and General Milley said was an aspiring tyrant, and only about 10,000 other people. Somehow this country chose him. I will never get it still, even with all the disinformation that's out there, even with the anger and resentment, even with everything. But it's been a long road. There's been so much Russian disinformation. We've neglected regulating any kind of sort of disinformation coming in. We've sat there as our education system is worse and disinformation has gotten worse, and education is the best protective sort of layer against that. And a lot of people come to believe things that are patently ridiculous. People are eating pets. They're eating the pets, the dogs and the cats. People believed that. They believed that FEMA was taking away, from people, not giving them in North Carolina. These are all things we'll have to solve. But history tells us that people have been in these situations and they've stood up and they've come out free on the other side. You can pick any number of examples. To change over to one thing I was going to talk about, I think about George Washington sometimes, and I think about his giving up the crown. He's offered the crown and said, no, we're going to be a republic. Was he perfect? Absolutely not. Was he a man of his times? Yes. He owned slaves, and I'm not going to defend that. I would hope you would think I wouldn't defend that. That's gross. He also did, we all have to put everybody in their times, right? When Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence, and this is where I believe myth is so important. Okay, myth can lead to horrible things. It can lead to genocides. It can lead, disinformation can lead to ridiculous election results. Can lead to all sorts of things. But myth, properly used, can be aspirational. Declaration of Independence declared that all men were created equal. Didn't even mention that women were. And we know that all men weren't created equal at that time. We know they didn't really believe that. But that ended up being an aspiration we could live up to when we ended up passing the Civil Rights Act. And when we ended up passing numerous acts in states and nationally since then, Voting Rights Act. Yes, the Supreme Court undid that somewhat. We'll be back. But if you think about it, various Civil Rights Act, the Americans Against Disabilities Act, actually passed by George H.W. Bush, would be another example of that. Inclusiveness, bringing more people in. If the Declaration of Independence had never said that, maybe that wouldn't be our credo. Maybe that wouldn't be what we tried to live up to. And I'm going to say the same thing about Thanksgiving right now. Look, we know this is based on something that, if you're going to convince me that Pilgrims sat down or whoever sat down peacefully with Native Americans, and it's still an argument between Virginia and Massachusetts, maybe we should just let them fight it out sometime in the ring over who really had the first Thanksgiving. Jamestown is fighting it out with Pilgrims, but whatever your belief on that, who knows? Did a couple people sit down together? I don't know. But it didn't happen the way we said it happened. And we know there were a lot of massacres after that and a lot of wars after that. But the point is the myth of it is that different folks could sit down together and celebrate each other and accept each other's differences and even celebrate them. And that's a myth, I think, just like the Declaration of Independence, we can try to live up to. These are the aspirational myths we should be sharing with people. When we hear people on the far right say lunatic, crap about deporting people and about who's lesser than who, and these horrible people, and attacking, members of the LGBTQ community, and just trying to other people, separate people, make people not as good. Why don't we remember what Thanksgiving, whether true or not, what the myth is about, and what it's led us to do, to sit down with our families and try to enjoy this day. And again, I keep saying this, obviously I'm talking about tomorrow, but that's all I have to say. Hopefully you found something positive in that. That's what I'm shooting for here. Thank you, Jim, for putting up the Patreon. You guys can all go there. That would be a thanks and some giving for me. Anybody would like to join Patreon or our YouTube members? Now that I've got my folks ready to go, man, and we're going to get into high gear. More content than ever. I will figure out when I will sleep. I don't know when that will be yet. Maybe between 1:15 and 2:45. We'll get it together, but more stuff is going to happen. Yes, no scalping this weekend. Everyone needs to get along. Dark should do said that, and I would agree. And so I didn't want to make this too long. I want, a lot of people have been sad. They've been depressed. They've kind of questioned, the decisions that so many people have made in this country, how someone could be so openly bigoted as Donald Trump and could make the comments he made about grabbing women by various parts, adjudicated a rapist in a court of law, a 32-time convicted felon, with many more that would have happened if we had just dropped them, and a lot more than that. It's shocking that he's a terrible person, and I have to sit there with my kids and teach them to behave in a way that's the opposite of the way the guy in the Oval Office will behave. But it doesn't mean that all is lost. And again, Civil War, Depression, World War II, there have been a lot of times when we've thought, all right, we had a good run. And I make those gallows humor kind of jokes sometimes, and I still will. But it doesn't change. Thank you again, Jim. Jim is on it today. I really appreciate it. But it doesn't mean that we shouldn't also appreciate, what we do have and what we can build, because the building blocks are still there. They're in our founding documents. They're in documenting, Seneca Falls was based on what had been done in the in the 1770s and 80s. So was the Civil Rights Act. Okay, guys, give me some good thoughts, some good feelings. My 10 minutes of near soliloquy. Soliloquy. There we go. That's how you say that word. What do you have? I need more. Come on, talk to me. Don't make me do the Jerry Maguire thing. What do you got? Who's having a good Thanksgiving? Who's celebrating it somewhere they want to tell me about? Who's seeing somebody they haven't seen in a while and is really excited about it? Who's not seeing somebody who that this Thanksgiving they really don't want to see and is really excited about it? I don't know. Give me what you got. Otherwise, it's going to have to be a really, really, quick chat we're going to have here because I don't have that much more to say. It's going to be nice to have a little bit of time off. I decided to work sort of partially today. I didn't decide to work half time today. I decided to work, as the British might say, half-arsed today, which was when I had stuff to do, I did it. I decided to do this. I told you all that we were going to have John Fugelsang on, and we were, but I decided I didn't think as many folks were going to be tuning in today. And John is such a treat and such a brilliant comedian, and I love the guy. He's a friend. He's a comedian. He's a talented actor. He's a talented, brilliant, right? The quickest wit in the West or East. I think he's flying east right now. But I decided not, we'll have John on hopefully next week. We're going to figure out a date because that deserves to be for a larger crowd. All right. I'm having a Friendsgiving tomorrow with some friends in Seattle. There you go. Stephen Manning. That's awesome. And then, just me and my honey from Brenda, just the way I like it. Good. I like the smaller ones. We're just doing my family and my father-in-law and his partner. And I think, we did a big one a couple of years ago. It's not as nice to have that smaller crowd. I feed my 94 and 90-year-old neighbors for Thanksgiving. Well, there you go. That's the spirit of Thanksgiving, Jason. You're to be applauded for that. That's amazing. Ray's barbecue. I could do that. I could do some good barbecue for Thanksgiving. Hello, Cliff from a blue dot in Florida. Hi, Christina. It's just me and my dad this year. Usually we'd be around my sister and her husband, but they are mega. Well, listen, if it's going to keep you guys from fighting, then that's probably a better thing. Again, I would say people, if you're getting together, folks, different who are MAGA, and I spent a lot of time ripping on MAGA. I would say this one day, if you can not do that, don't do it. Make it a happy day. Obviously, if they're coming at you, then you have a right to defend yourself and tell them to back off. My sister and sister-in-law drove from New York to Wisconsin to spend the week. Denise Rossler, that's terrific. See? Awesome. What do we got here from Jim? I have to wait for Merrick Garland to be fired before Christmas. I'll keep hope alive, dude. As Jesse Jackson used to say, if we just get an actual attorney general in there, imagine what could happen. Somebody that believed that, attacking the Capitol after you lost an election is sort of an offense you should be held accountable for, and that maybe the Constitution, the 14th Amendment, that says you should never be able to run for office after insurrection should have been applied here. We do dare to dream, don't we? This may be the best one I've seen yet, as much as I've loved all of them. Just do what makes you happy. Honestly, that is what I'm going to try to do. Granted, you got to take other people into that equation. If you're being happy is driving your Maserati down the street at 120 miles per hour, probably shouldn't do that. But, relax, kick back. I think I said this the other day. If you love reading a good book, grab one. If you love streaming a good show, grab that laptop or TV and go for it. Spending time with the family everybody's talking about, do that. I'm so excited to be able to spend time with my kids. Whenever I can, I'm excited to do it. And I get to do it even more now. And they won't have homework. And I will take off from work Friday. So this is going to be awesome. What else you got for us, Jim? Safe travels and pack a lot of patience traveling hither. And yes, some are even watching and listening. Thank you. I don't know if we even have that much more, guys. I mean, is everybody feeling okay? I really liked the comments I saw in there. I did think I would see some folks who were depressed and upset about things. And actually, it seems like most of you guys are feeling pretty good. I knew you meant yawn, by the way, Jim, but we're just going to put yawn up there, which I believe is that John in Dutch? Danish? Johan? Stupid keys, yeah. I don't know. What else, folks? But I mean, I don't want to do my little thing yet where I have to Jerry Maguire my way out and be like, come on, one new member. Give me a new member. Patreon. Patreon, YouTube. Super sticker just for $1.99. Anything you got. Just want someone to leave with me. Come on. Cliff, I think someone will find massive fraud in this election. Well, my friend, it's possible. I don't think anybody has found anything yet. I think it's all of the problems that we have. I think already there are things that I would say do not allow us to have free and fair elections. The voter purges happened here in Ohio, happened in Florida and Texas, places like that. I mean, if everybody who intended to go out that day to vote voted, I think there's hundreds of thousands easily more votes, if not millions. And on top of that, there were the bomb threats called in. How many people didn't go back and vote? I don't know. I don't think you have to think it came from that. I don't think that it came from fraud. I can't super chat for some reason. That's weird. I don't want you to not be able to super chat. Can you super sticker? Can you, I don't know, do something else? Oh, look at that. Somebody's able to. So I'm not saying what's going on, my friend. MJ, thank you for the $5 happy Thanksgiving to all. I thought I clicked on that. I did now. Okay, there we go. Yes, happy Thanksgiving to all, folks. Okay. Enjoy yourselves, as we said. Denise, I feel okay. Seem out of sorts this time. Worked on a lot of projects, so I didn't have time to do other stuff. That's okay. I think a lot of people will be more understanding this Thanksgiving. It's been a trying time, and we've all been exhausted by a lot going on. And I hope you'll have some family and some friends who understand. What else? Screams. Oh, that's somebody, Jim. Okay, you're talking to @Screams. Where is our friend? Are you still having trouble super chatting, super stickering, super manning, super califragilistic? I don't know. I'd have to guess that that might have been a little glitch on your part, my friend. And maybe if you reboot or you have a specific God that answers your prayers. You know what's really silly? This is really silly. But I didn't even turn off the light above. So that whole time, my guess is the lights looked ridiculous and weird because I should have been having these lights light me up. So if I looked strange, I apologize. But hell, at least we fixed it at some point. You got to forget something on a day like today. I don't know, guys. I don't know if we have that much else to chat about here. Does anybody else have anything wacky, nutty, anything you want to get off your chest? Anything you want to put on your chest? I put some Diet Coke in my chest, which I hear is not that healthy for me, but I try to limit the habit. Well, I'll take this as a positive. Thank you, Benga Dragon. I try to be a voice of reason. I fail sometimes. But we all get angry and we all have our moments, right? But most of the time, look, I try to separate anger from passion. Passion can be smart. Passion can be intelligent and, just filled with energy. And that's what I try to do. I don't try to just sort of scream to scream. But so hopefully, yes, I can be that voice of reason while still sometimes getting pretty worked up about stuff. Hey, our Mr. Stoner friend figured out the super chat. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Or is it Mrs. Stoner? It's Mr. M or I don't know. Mr. or Mrs. Stoner, whoever you are, you've got Stoner in there, and that's pretty cool, even in and of itself. So, and thank you for the $2 super chat. I really appreciate that. Sheldon Hughes, thankful for my family. Same. That's why I started that off. Because that way. Now, see, Jim, you got to start going there. And as a Yankees fan, just, I was thankful for Thanksgiving. And then you just go there. I'm kidding. It's okay. there was a team, there was a dream. I'm gonna start like Gladiator. Gladiator 2 came out, by the way, great movie. I'm thinking of having a movie reviewer come on next week. I want to tell you guys, I'm gonna start shaking this up a little bit. I think we should. This is going to be based around politics, what we do here. But I know people have other interests like this, like sports, like movies, and I'm going to have friends of mine who talk about those things. Some of them are semi-famous people you've heard of, and some of them aren't. But if we talk our own about politics ourselves, let's say for one of these super chats of an hour and a half for an hour, then a half hour, 45 minutes, we have somebody come in and just talk about sports or music or whatever, then that would be cool. In any case, Blake Snell to the Dodgers. I think I was going with, there was a dream once that was called Rome, which was the quote from Gladiators. There was a dream once that was called the Yankees bank account, where they spent whatever they needed. It created a dynasty in the late 90s. And now the Dodgers seem to have become the Yankees. And Hal Steinbrenner is cheap and keeps hiring his family friend Brian Cashman as his GM, who wastes all our money on bad players and then doesn't have enough for the good ones, and then they complain they spend too much. Okay, I got that out of my system. Riley, I like it. I'm too damn drunk to remember the third reason. Be safe, don't drive. Hopefully you're not at work. And then that's fair. Stephen Manning, as a Mariners fan, I'd be happy to see the M's make it to a World Series in my lifetime. Stephen, you guys tortured me. I should tell you a story one time when I was at a Yankees game. I'll never forget. Ken Griffey is from this town. Went to Moeller High School here. Because Ken Griffey Sr. was on the Big Red Machine. So Ken Griffey Jr. was from here, grew up here. And I'll never forget when he was on Seattle, I went to a Yankees game. And, I never was one of these nasty fans. So I wasn't yelling like horrible stuff. I'm just taunting him, having fun. When he came to bat, we were like right behind the plate. Like, you're not going to get it, Griffey. You can't hit him, silly stuff like that. And Griffey has one of those beautiful swings, had one of the beautiful swings I've ever seen. And he launched one I think it went upper deck and third deck of the Yankee team, and came around and looked at me and my friends, just went, phew. And I wish I had a camera, because Griffey even then had a smile on his face. Like, he wasn't nasty about it. He wasn't whatever. That's one of those ones I wish I could remember for history. No football fan? Yeah, there are football fans here. We had somebody talking the Lions, Cowboys, and Packers. Or do I pick my shitty home team? I hate the Dolphins. See, so we got Go Bills in here. I liked what the Bills. Believe me, that was a nice day for me when the Bills beat Kansas City, because I'm a huge not Kansas City fan, being that I think that they stopped us for the Bengals. I'm a Giants fan first, being from New York, but I'm a Bengals fan too, living here, and I think they stopped the Bengals from winning that Super Bowl. And now the Bengals and the Giants combined are like the worst teams in the world. There are actually a lot of sports fans here, so hopefully you guys will be into it. I'll give you a hint. And again, this friend of mine said he'll come on. He used to be an anchor on Sports Center, is all that I'll say. So you're going to probably have a good idea what it is, and if you throw it out there, I can't answer, because he has to determine. He's not going to be allowed to talk politics on here anyhow, so we're just talking sports. But somebody, I'm pretty sure you will know who this is, and he's a great guy, and it's going to be a lot of fun when we get him on here. So we can talk about all this stuff. Riley, I never leave home when I'm drinking. George Thorogood. Not only did I write about drinking alone, which is great advice, Riley, but I saw him play that live, and the man can play. And if he wasn't drinking alone at that moment, if he was just drinking and playing, that was pretty cool too, because he's a lot of fun to see live. I want to say he was opening for Sammy Hagar and the Circle, which are kind of like it's Jason Bonham from the Led Zeppelin lineage and Michael Anthony from Van Halen. It's a great combo of work there, and Thorogood opened for them, was fantastic. And I was drinking at this place called Riverbend here in Cincinnati that people will know from the area, so I was not drinking alone that night. See, we got a Seahawks fan right here. Well, Stephen Manning, of course, because he's a Seattle guy through and through. Well, see, that's the thing, Grim, and that's what I got to argue with you. We can't help homeless veterans, but we can pay men to play with balls, which I like the way you phrase that. We do pay men to play with balls, but we can actually do both. We choose not to. You know what I mean? I mean, we misprioritize our society. How much money do you think defense industry contractors and lobbyists are getting, pharma industry and all contractors, when Donald Trump passed his stupid tariffs last time that he's going to try to repeat again this time? we bailed farmers out. I don't know why the Kamala Harris, I thought, ran a great campaign, but why they didn't talk about that. $22 billion out of our pockets went to farmers because of Trump's tariffs, because of his ego. You think we couldn't feed homeless veterans with that? We don't have to choose. I mean, again, there's the certain violent aspects of some sports that we've realized, head injuries or whatever, and tried to calm those down. Hello there, microbite, my friend. You can have both. You really can. And we can have health care for everybody. If you look at what we spend on defense and you look at how much there are subsidies that go to oil and all sorts of things, we can have it all. We're choosing not to have it all. We're letting people get demagogued and fooled and voting against their own best interests and not having the society that we could have. What do you got for me? Anyone see swinging District 13 as California goes to? Yes. So yeah, that's the one with Adam Gray, isn't it? Adam Gray pulled ahead by 125 votes. It looks like what's left to count is his to go get back to politics here. And it looks like we were going to have at least 215 Democratic votes. And there's a very realistic chance right now with Matt Gaetz gone and two others, Stefanik or three others, that we may go in with a 216 to 215 Republican advantage. I wish the man who likes to monitor some of his son's private activities on his computer, Speaker Johnson, the best of luck in managing that, considering he couldn't manage like a 10 vote majority or whatever last time, and now he's going to have one. Same old script, different day. Hope you're not talking about me. My script changes, man. I write my own script. Yeah, you're preaching to the choir, but what are we doing? We're doing everything we can, man, or woman, or woman. I don't know. I mean, we're doing what we can do. We'll be doing different things. And members of my family will be at soup kitchens. We'll be doing stuff on both the local level. We'll be helping people out. And we're voting for levies for schools and for other things to help people out. You know, we've got universal preschool passed here in Cincinnati, which is going to make a huge difference a few years ago, which I worked on. Like, you do what you can do, you know? I mean, it's never going to be perfect. And we're never going to be close to perfect. So we do our best. We try to help people. You know, that's not just preaching, it's doing. And frankly, again, I mean, I don't take this personally, but like doing is, you know, why I'm sitting here the day before Thanksgiving when I could be lying on the sofa, because I care. I don't, you know, this is my main job, as I've said before. I'm trying to turn this into a revenue positive job where I'm actually making any money. I'm doing this because I care. You know, and you're here because you care too, I assume, Grim Jitter. And everybody else is here because they care, because we're a community. And I bet if I were to look at what all these folks do here, you know, that are in this community here, I bet everybody, both on the local level, on the state level, on the federal level, has done a whole lot to help other people. Cliff, thank you for acknowledging me. Can't remember the last time that happened. Well, then I'm going to acknowledge you again, Riley. I'm going to go to the corner to cry before I come. No, don't cry. Just speak about Moses Johnson. I didn't know, Riley, that you hadn't been acknowledged. I honestly pick most of these randomly, except for the fact that if you kind enough to give me a super chat or a super sticker, well, then you definitely get you want to make sure you get it up there. $1.99. Hell, I don't even know how low. I don't know how low it goes. Give me 2 cents and then put you up there. Benny, shithole we live in, Cliff, the lies we live in. I know that is all the same. But again, that's where I brought up, if you were here for the earlier part, history. History teaches us that there have been many situations like this. I mean, most of Western Europe, we had revolution and terrible things happened. France comes to mind. Others transitioned from fascism into democracy. I think of from Franco transitioning into democracy in Spain. I mean, you know, there's many different examples in many different places, but you hope we get better. We've been on the cusp of a couple of major victories, and I know it's almost made it worse because you feel like you have the rug pulled out from under you. But we've also won a lot of statewide victories. Here in Ohio, we passed a measure that gave women back the right to control their bodies. That was a victory. I'm not going to act like something very bad didn't just happen. I told you guys that I always will tell you the truth. But that also means trying to take account for the positive things that have happened. And I brought some of those up recently. And we just saw another one. We just won another House seat we thought we were going to lose, which means they're not going to be able terms of legislation, I wish them luck getting anything out of the House. And Pat Ludwig, of course, nails it here. Community. That's what we are. Community is powerful. It really is. Mud, High Cliff, and everyone. Cool. I like the hellos. Don't appreciate. See, Riley, you're up for the third time now. You may break a record. I may put you up 15 of them. Don't appreciate people like Cliff enough. Not sure what you mean. If you think people don't appreciate me enough, I'm appreciated. I've got a good life, and I hope anything I didn't say before. I just was making a point to someone about that I'm here doing this show, and I'm not here doing it for the money right now. Who knows? Maybe this thing will blow up into something huge, and whatever. But so far, I've put a lot of work into it, and I've done it because I care. And I'm not going to even claim some of those videos that have gone viral that you guys have been awesome and really watched. A few of them hit 300,000 or 400,000, made me some money. So I'm not going to say I never have, but I'm just saying that I'm trying to build something here that's much bigger. Maybe down the road it'll make me money, but that's not even the reasoning. Grim, what did you have to say? It's been 8 years of telling ourselves the same exact thing. Look where we are. I hate to tell you, but I've been telling myself the exact same thing for 30 years since a guy named Newt Gingrich came on the scene. That was Trump 1.0, a bomb-throwing, overweight, gluttonous, left 3 wives, one in the hospital with cancer, served her divorce papers, complete substance-free loser. And the Republicans looked at him and said, you can win doing that. Let's demagogue about everything. And then some of the Republicans around there that were actual heroes. Jacob Javits, senator from New York, was to the left of about 80% of the Democratic Party, Republican, that my family used to vote for. Some of those Republicans left and it changed. But I'm just saying, it's been a lot of years. But again, you say 8 years. During those 8 years, I brought up the thing here in Ohio, the abortion rights thing. A lot of things changed in a positive direction. And we won back. Think of the infrastructure bill and what that did for so many people. We had bridges falling down here between Ohio and Kentucky. There's a bridge I wouldn't drive over because I was scared. I know that's basic stuff, but still, Biden got COVID, shots in arms, so people were able to go back out and work on the stimulus bill, right? The most money ever put into climate change mitigation in the Inflation Reduction Act. The one I bring up all the time, Medicare allowed to negotiate the price of prescription drugs. It's brought down the price for seniors, 30, 40, 50%. We were the only ones not doing that in the Western world. I was part of that fight alongside Social Security works about 5-7 years ago. And we lost. We finally beat them, which shows you if you fight long enough, you can actually beat the bad guys. And they may be the good guys when it comes to RFK Jr. because he wants to stop all the stuff they do. So let them fight it out. Hopefully he insults them and they stop him. See, for me, here's a good moment. Susan Ford, hey, Cliff, wonderful to hear on Stephanie Miller and Bob Seska. Thank you for your hard work. Yeah, I had a heck of a week the last week or so. I co-hosted, you guys may know I'm now co-hosting with Bob every Tuesday, his podcast. It's a regular thing. I went on Tony Michael's show per usual last Thursday, and then on Monday back-to-back Stephanie Miller and Hal Sparks. And I was going to have Fugelsang on. It was almost the entire Stephanie Miller cinematic universe. But we'll get to him. As I told you, we'll have Fugelsang on next week when people are really, when more people are here, because people really get to hear him, because he's quite something. Hey, Cliff, thanks for what you do. I really appreciate it. Thank you for being here to appreciate it. Mayor Wedlock, because if you were not, then I couldn't do this now, could I? And look at this, a great one by Microbyte. Hey, look at that, nearly 100,000 subs. That's right, guys. I am honestly 2,200 away from 100,000. And I lost a couple thousand after the election because I'm sure people are depressed and whatever. So if you're not subscribed and you're in here, please subscribe. That's free. It's not even a super chat or a super sticker. Like, you just subscribe. It's free. And you turn on notifications and whenever there's a live stream or a video, 5-minute videos, which I still produce some of those, not quite as many, and now that shorts are up to 3 minutes, I'm going to be doing a lot of 3-minute type shorts, direct to camera, a little more grainy, authentic. So, 2,200. I'm hoping by December 1st, we will pass 100,000. It is definitely an ambitious goal. I don't know if we'll make it, but we're certainly going to make it sometime early in December. And I'm excited about that because then they give you your own marketing person at YouTube. They decide that you are worthy. So that may change things, and then we may make more revenue here, and then I can do more shows, put in more time. And that would be good for everybody, right? Cliff, do you know Vivek Ramaswamy? He is from Cincinnati, if that's the question. He did go to a school here I'm quite familiar with, St. X, a Catholic school. I do not know him, and I'm quite pleased not to know him because I think he's a demagogic liar, and I think he lacks any basic character. And if I would ever run into him, I would say that. If that's the Vivek you're talking about. I went to a school in New York, a very liberal-minded Episcopalian school to the 8th grade, and I had a friend named Vivek there who I've been in touch with on and off over the years, who lives in New York. That's another Vivek I know, if that's the one you're asking about. I don't know. Cliff's out and about takes are golden. What are my out and about takes? I want to know. Are those my stories? Are those me just being a goofball? That's the thing. That's why these chats are fun, is I have diarrhea of the mouth, as you all know by now. When something comes up, I want to tell a story about it, or I want to, get into history, or I like you guys. I like people, except for the people I don't like. There's more of them lately than I thought there would be. Newt and Rush Limbaugh started this. Joe, you are correct. Newt, though, in '94 started it in the political realm. Rush started it in the entertainment realm, and that's why if you saw the show here when Brian Karem came on, he talked all about it. Getting rid of the fairness doctrine, which was done under Ronald Reagan, started this. Because I actually was, after that in the 90s, and when I was in college and we were studying about the rise with one of the really smarter political communications people, Kathleen Hall Jameson. Brilliant. She's written books on this subject and pointed out that Rush Limbaugh could only rise up with the lack of a fairness doctrine. And as Brian said, you want to protect the First Amendment, regulate it, which is a great message, by the way. They say, oh, no censorship. If disinformation equals information, we can't have an intelligent public, and we can't have a democracy. It will fall definitively. If you have some sort of regulation, we should have, a fairness doctrine, but that needs to apply well beyond what it used to, which was just to FCC. So like local radio would help. It would help with St. Clair. They wouldn't be able to do what they do, which would be good. But now it needs to apply to cable. It needs to apply to the internet. It needs to apply to everything. Certainly social media. I don't say the internet. You can have your own site and say whatever you want on your own site. But if it's something that is a large type like Twitter that should really be a public utility, and I would make that argument that at this point that shouldn't be owned by a private individual. There's too much political communication there. There should be a fairness doctrine that applies to that. Oh no, now Matt Taibbi or Glenn Greenwald or some other loser who grifted their way over to the right will probably come after me. That really hurts my feelings. Mayor, thank you, Cliff. I've been a fan for years. Well, that's kind of you. I've been a fan of yours ever since I've seen your name, and you keep seeing nice things about me. I'm serious. I'm really glad to get to know you. Tell me if you want to. I love history because it's fun. Tell me where you became a fan. I've done so many goofy things. From the book I wrote to, I was once a contributor at the beginning of time. It seems like on the Young Turks. I don't see eye to eye with them on a whole lot of things, if not anything. Well, yes, I think on some policy, but how you strategy, no. I was on Sam Cedar's show for a while. I still love Sam, some of his audience, maybe not as much. I was a guest on Bob Seska's for years before Matt McNeil, who we had on yesterday, years. Other folks on terrestrial radio out in the West Coast, Peter B. Collins. I haven't seen Peter in a while. Thank you, Michael. And I will say that is something I've been saying, but also that Brian Karem was pushing, and Brian's got a lot of credibility here. It has to be done. So the fairness doctrine grew out of what we saw in Nazi Germany and those countries, that propaganda from one side, inevitably, if one side could dominate television. What do you think Viktor Orban did when he took over? The first thing he did is he bought up all the television stations, which is what Elon Musk wants to do with MSNBC right now, which is what we can't let him do. And I've been arguing this point and fighting this fight for 20 years, watching as liberal billionaires and foundations do very little. We have a liberal foundation that owns the Philadelphia Inquirer, and that's why I subscribe there. And I would tell you to subscribe there and unsubscribe from the New York Times and the Washington Post, because you'll get honest information at the Philadelphia Inquirer. Well, there's an example, but we don't do enough of that. And they do. And the fairness doctrine, again, applied to talk radio, applied to Sirius satellite. I don't care if it's FCC or not. It needs to be applied to everything, because we realized that in World War II that one side doing all the talking inevitably led to that side believing their own you know what, and getting more and more extreme, and leading to propaganda and leading to authoritarian government. Reagan did kill it. You are correct. Well, thank you. See, and you've gotten a lot of play this time too. Grim Jer, which is, I appreciate the thank you. And if you came in here without hope and now you're leaving with a little bit, which it seems like, then I've done something good today, haven't I? Because we need to have hope. We need to believe in this. I'm telling you, it's not over. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? If you don't know that reference, then first person to get that reference gets their chat up there, and I tell you that you're a brilliant human. But you know, you don't pre-give up, which isn't really a term, but you don't let them, you don't signify like what Joe and Mika did, which is why no one wants anything to do with them anymore. You don't go and bend a knee to an authoritarian. There is hope. There's plenty of people fighting back in plenty of different ways. And there's so many different levers of democracy, guys. And the only reason that we're in the position we're in is because we failed on all of them. We let the right gamed gerrymandering in 2010, took all of these state legislatures. The right gamed out the courts for years and made up BS about activist judges when their judges are activist judges. And they made sure to block our judges and get theirs through and weren't urgent enough about it. They went about creating a parallel media universe of just lies, of, you know, Fox News and whatever, and you know, talk radio, and we didn't respond. We didn't get here by accident. And what that means is it can be fixed. It's harder because they have so much control, but we have control in plenty of places. And we got people out there with plenty of funds if they're willing to spend them too. And we got people with plenty of talent. Reagan killed it. Yes, that is correct, Lefty Gramps. Reagan killed it. And, you know, I hate saying this because my first campaign in '96, right out of college, was for Bill Clinton. And I think Clinton, around family and medical leave, you know, and around his foreign policy, particularly with pro-NATO and Bosnia that stopped a genocide. I could name other things, even if I wasn't a fan of his personal behavior, did a lot of good things. But he signed the Telecommunications Act in 1996 that further deregulated media. And it's the worst thing Bill Clinton ever did. It was terrible. It added to the undoing of the fairness doctrine, and led to more media conglomerates. Hi, Cliff. Love your latest show on YouTube about Dems needing to create their own media spaces. We have to stop giving all that ground up. Yes. And that's what I'm talking about again today, too. Like I'll be talking about it a lot because it's an area I have expertise in. I've told you before, it's one of the few liberals probably ever actually paid by Sinclair Media to be the liberal voice fighting with the guys on the right, which usually include the host. I felt I bested them most of the time. And they liked it because I liked, you know, controversy, but it was ridiculous. And they paid me relatively fairly, not as much as the conservative, but that no liberal organization has ever once paid me to be on TV. I mean, I'm searching for sponsorships for this show right now, and I'm probably going to have to go to corporate ones. I'm preparing you all for that. I won't go to big oil, and I won't go to nothing that does damage, but neutral ones, right? Like some shoe store or something, because I can't get liberal groups to give me money for this. Everybody says they care until it's time to actually support people. I mean, I've sat here and just by the work that I've done, working my butt off, mostly the last 6 to 9 months, because before that I did this part-time and built up 30,000, 40,000, but I've more than doubled the subscriber base. We're at 100,000 at this point almost. And I've done that with not 1 cent from those on the left who claim to care about our communications. So, you know, I'm going to be taking corporate sponsors soon is all I got to tell you. I hope you're not offended by that. And I'm, again, you know, I've got my rules. I ain't going to pharma. I ain't going to nobody that actively is a huge conglomerate that hurts us. But if it's like, hey, these are the best shoes around, or hey, you should use this brand to hydrate yourself after working out, that's what I'm going to do, because I can't seem to get anybody in the liberal space. I mean, we're not talking large amounts of money here, folks. We're really not, to help sponsor one show. And I won't do it. And this is what I've found out forever. Now, to get on a better note, Skyline Chili, Mr. Stoner, you are the man. Yes, we won't do that for Thanksgiving, but we will do it because Skyline is awesome. Susan Ford just subscribed. Susan, fantastic. Thank you. You've gotten us one closer to the magic number. We can't be mad at content providers like you who speak truth. Laura Diaz Austin. Well, I hope so. I mean, I really do. I guess there are people that get mad at people who speak the truth sometimes, but do you want me? I don't think you want me to lie to you. So I appreciate that comment. I mean, all I can do is tell you, I've been in and I've been out. And look, some of the folks you've heard of on the left, so I want to be fair, who have foundations and are billionaires, whatever. I have been paid by some of them, and I've talked about some of it. I worked for Everytown for gun safety, right? Bloomberg started it, and I pioneered their digital PR program when that was a new thing back in 2009, 10, whatever. But I'm talking about now, what we've never done is give people funds to just be, right? Give an endowed chair create a think tank that says, here's $250,000. That's your base pay, and you have health care. Now go out there and write as many articles as you can. Whatever you get paid is yours. Go out there and go on as many shows as you can. Whatever you get paid is yours. We'll help you get a book published. That stuff. And that's what I'm talking about. I feel like I missed some memberships, and I'm sorry. Jackie Jackez, if that's how you pronounce it. Jackie Jacquet has become a member. So we got another member. You are fantastic, and I so appreciate it. And then we also got Robert Parker. So 2 new members today. That is awesome. The content you will soon get with my new admin, it's going to be explosive. Wonderful. It's going to be the best you've ever seen. Buffett is not MAGA. No, Buffett is absolutely not MAGA. In fact, one of the people who paid me, I was able to stop an extreme anti-abortion bill in our state legislature, which was controlled massively by Republicans in 2016. And that was funding for a 501(c) that I started, a nonprofit organization on women's health, with some other folks, and that was funded by the Buffett Foundation. He very much cares about women's health care. But again, the Bloombergs, the Buffetts, even, oh my God, Soros. Yes. When I did some work around open societies and things that Soros care about, anti-authoritarian work, some funding from what I hear came from there too. But these folks need to put funding into liberal infrastructure. Okay, just because Air America became a failure, which it did largely because somebody stole a bunch of money. They trusted the wrong person to watch the money. Think of, again, whether you like these personalities or not, think of who came out of there. Al Franken, Rachel Maddow, Sam Cedar, what's his name? Dude that does the podcast from his garage out on the West Coast. They were comedians before, but there are a lot of success stories. And that was a training ground for me. I got invited as a guest on shows. So, it would work if people would just invest in putting a large network together like that. I don't even think we need a TV network. What about a large YouTube network that encompassed a whole bunch of channels and made sure that the people there could keep what they brought in, but were paid a base salary, had healthcare, were paid well? You'd have content out there all the damn time. If people could do that and said, hey, I know I'm going to make X amount of money this year, no matter what I do, I wouldn't have to have my other work that I do. But we don't have anybody doing that. So it is what it is, My old friend Mikhail Spacco. Cliff, you talk about the real reasons that the left is afraid to sponsor fighters versus what they say. Well, there are reasons. I don't know that I know all of them. I suspect you're talking about the fact that there are people on the left who have lots of money that don't want their taxes to go up and don't want to be regulated. That's what I suspect you're talking about. But I don't think that that's everybody on the left. Warren Buffett has advocated, his taxes going up. You're right. Probably some of those folks, it may have something to do with Bloomberg, but you know what? Bloomberg also could fund a channel or something where they stuck to the issues he cares about. It was social issues. What if he funded some kind of a channel, would it be radio, TV, whatever, around climate, gun safety, women's choice? What else? I don't know. Pick a couple other issues. I'm trying to think what he cares about. He's got some other ones too. Oh, immigration. He's very pro-immigration. Why not just that? If he disagrees with us on taxes, stay away from those issues. There still are things that can be done. Some have done them. Doesn't seem live, but that's okay. I'm sure Cliffy will get around to looking at the new chat regardless. What doesn't seem live? I am live. Are you questioning if I'm live here? I am AI. I am I promise you, this is me. I don't know what I can do to prove it to you, but I'm here. Let's see, anybody call? You want to call me on my phone? That's probably not good. You may have meant something else, by the way, Starlene. I don't know, but I promise you that if you meant that I'm not here, I am here. There are other things being replayed right now that I've been on. Maybe, maybe it's Bob Seska's or Stephanie's or Tony's or I don't know, Hal. But I promise you, this is the real Cliff right here, sitting here. They, the Federalist Society Heritage Foundation, the actual deep state. Riley, see, you're going to be highlighted again for that brilliant comment, and that is true. But they always accuse us of what they do. So the deep state thing was always BS. The Federalist Society was because the American Bar Association is actually a moderate organization that would recommend both liberals and conservatives who had the correct judicial experience and temperament for the courts. But the right wanted to pick blackout drunks who like to hang out with Twiggy and Goofy and whatever the names of Brett Kavanaugh's friends were he hung out with in the summer, like, hey, Swig and Donkey, and the ABA would be like, no, he seems too drunk for that. And then they'd have somebody else come along, like Clarence Thomas, be like, no, he doesn't have the proper experience and kind of seems to have a chip on his shoulder. And they didn't want that. Just the way Fox didn't want mainstream media telling us when, Walter Cronkite saying the Vietnam War is lost. They wanted to be able to say when that happened. Roger Ailes hated Watergate and decided it would never happen again. So they built parallel organizations next to the mainstream one. The Heritage Foundation was supposed to be there because they knew they couldn't get stuff through the Brookings Institution, which is also moderate. It's not liberal. That was fake and wasn't peer reviewed. So create the Heritage Foundation. But they didn't just create one of each of those. They created like hundreds. I had a whole list the other day of right-wing organizations when they started saying, blue sky has become an echo chamber. I'm like, here, let me give you a list of echo chambers. I should have had that on here. Maybe that'll be my rant next time. I'll start off with all the right-wing echo chambers. Because I sat there reading, it took up 3 or 4 full, I don't know what you call them. They're not called tweets there. Some people said skeets, but that sounds kind of gross. And I was able to sit there just one organization after another. There's Heritage and AEI and Sinclair and Salem Radio and Fox News and Breitbart and everything with Daily and Wire in it or whatever. The Daily Wire, the Daily this, the Daily that. I mean, it goes on forever, right? Town Hall and Federalist and whatever. They don't even tell you who funds them. And we find out then the guy that started the Federalist, Meghan McCain's husband, was funded by Malaysia. I can chew Cliff and walk over to Hal later. I like that. There you go. Is Hal on right now? So is that what it is? People, Hal's doing a rerun with me on there. So I'm in 2 places. I'm magical that way. Oh, you don't see me. We have deep dives. Do House Republicans obstruct bipartisan immigration reform? Yes, they did with Bush. You're absolutely right. And Obama, and they did it most recently. They obstructed it numerous times to make it get to this point. Yes, you have to have a border. You can have a very humane policy, but you do have to have a border, and people do have to wait in line or pay penalties. And I get it if they're escaping persecution or death, you want to protect them, and we should, because we're humans. They should read that part about the Good Samaritan in the Bible they never got to, even though they claim to be Christian. But we do need to have rules so people who got here first came in first, and penalties are paid, and we could have all that. But they didn't want it. They didn't want it. Hal was chatting with Phil. I am not Phil, I'm Cliff. Well, for some reason, Phil and Cliff don't seem like they're that close. Like, I get it when people call me Chris. I had somebody the other day at the gym who's been thinking my name is Kurt. Phil doesn't seem that close, but I've had that happen a few times before. I don't know. Hal is live 10 hour. Yeah. Hal Benny, I don't know what he does there. And he also has like Nerd Halen, his Van Halen band, and another band. And like he does a radio show on Saturdays. And listen, I don't know how these people find the time, but I can't. I already now I'm doing 3 of these a week. I put together about 4 to 5, sometimes more, 5-minute videos for you guys that are a little more edited. I put in a ton of shorts. And again, this is my second job or third job. I still have 1 or 2 PR clients on things that I care about. Told you I worked on trying to prevent Armenian genocide from happening again, and it's something I'm pretty passionate about, with Azerbaijan wanting to invade and Putin giving them the green light. So it's something I stay involved in. And then my job, where I raise money for Democrats with an email list. So, Stephanie Miller had you on with a clip from yesterday. Today? So maybe that's it. Everybody thought I was on Stephanie's show. the same time. I'm the shadow. All right, guys. Yeah, I wish I had Hal's energy, Brandon Woods. We all did. I don't even know. I think Hal's about my age. I'm early 50s. And I mean, again, I'm pretty uptight about getting to the gym 4 to 5 days a week and staying in shape and all of that stuff. But man, I don't have that man's energy. But then again, I don't know. He doesn't have my day job, but then he has his nerd Halen job. I don't know. Hey, we're all different. Riley, I'm putting up here again because you're going to break the record. I didn't think you're judging me. To be very clear, I don't feel judged very easily. I don't get offended very easily. I don't. I just was making the point that Hal is I'm not going to have the energy that Hal has. I'm going to work hard. You were on Stephanie's shows yesterday, Cliff. Yes, I was. It was almost again. Was that yesterday? I lost track of time. So with Stephanie, no, it was Monday. Oh, so she maybe had me back on again yesterday. She replayed. I don't know. Well, guys, I've unsubscribed from Michael Cohen's and Mia Culpa. He has gone soft. Well, maybe he's scared Trump's coming after him, but that is no excuse. Yeah. Cliff, you may want to talk to viewers about how shorts and videos are boosted by the right. Well, you know what? We need to talk, Spacco, and you keep reaching out to me, so that's on me. But I don't know exactly what to do to boost their shorts and their videos. I can only guess they do what they do everywhere else. They create a whole lot of bots that go in and watch their videos and pump up their numbers. They probably pay. There are places out there I've seen where you can actually pay services that then, I don't know where they find these people, but they can pay like maybe probably foreign countries. They can pay them cheaply. They can have like 100,000 people or 10,000 people watch one of your videos. But I don't know. That doesn't seem very organic to me. And frankly, if you build up your, I mean, it's, if you need to get the YouTube algorithm going, I guess that could help. But I'd rather have the money from the left to create a better product. I don't want them buying views for me. I'd rather have them give me the money so that my production is better, so that I don't have to spend as much time on things to make money that I do, so I could spend more time on this. That's what I'd rather have it for. But I'm interested to hear what you have to say about that, Spacco, because you know what? I'm not saying I want that for me, but if that's going to help the left compete, then I want it for all of us. Whatever it is that doesn't show them, it doesn't allow them to dominate artificially, like when they buy. Because if you're saying that this is the same strategy, I mean, look, this is the strategy with books. I talk about this all the time. My book came out. I got it on Amazon through my work to number 2 on political books behind Obama's book. I even was ahead of Jesse Ventura for a week. Try that. But, and went to number 17 as a bestseller on all books on Amazon. Sold 24,000 copies, I believe. I saw nothing on the back end. I got an advance. It was perfectly fine. But the guy I was going up against was a birther, was a Swift boater, and he had Registry Publishing, and they bought $250,000 or something of his books. So it became a bestseller in the New York Times. And then everybody else went out and bought it and whatever. And this is what they do. And they artificially pump their numbers on shows. They artificially put out polls that showed them ahead, so people thought they're going to be with the winner. They do this with everything. Spacco, reach out to me. We need to talk. Does anybody else have any final thoughts? Because I'm at the hour mark, and I actually do have a call I have to get on. I didn't think we're going to go this long, but that's a compliment to you guys. You're all fantastic. You have great questions. You have great comments. I love talking to you. And now I'm going to feel bad that I won't be back. I may do a surprise one on Monday, so pay attention. I'll put it up on my YouTube, and Tony will let you know if that's when it turns out Fugelsang would rather do it. I don't normally do Monday because I'm not doing tomorrow. I may do it 4 days next week. We'll see. But I think that's about where I have hit my point where I must end, because I do have a call. I see you're putting up WCPT with Hal. I may start going regularly on a show as a guest there. Not a done deal yet, so I won't announce it. That'd be cool to be in the Chicago market too. But that's it, guys. Look, happy Thanksgiving. Everything I said earlier. Remember what we're here for. Remember the myth of Thanksgiving. Remember why it's such a positive thing that you can turn into a reality, as we have with much in this country. Don't let them get you down. Yeah, have moments where you're down. But get back up, wipe yourself off, and fight back. That's what it's all about. It's not about those, the moments you're down. It's about how you respond to them. And whiskey and wine is good, Michael McAndrews. I'm going to go with tequila. That is my favorite. Casa Amigos is in my future. Jim Williams, you're the best. I mean, you're moderating here. You're so kind, and you put up all my places to find me, and you're outstanding. You are all outstanding. Love you guys. Happy Thanksgiving. And as the sun sets slowly in the west, I'm going to bid you a fond farewell.